Is it on now? When I built this workbench, I was inspired by a painting by a French artist that painted a picture of what he called the Holy Family, with Jesus as a 12-year-old, maybe 13. I know that Jesus is 12 or 13 in that picture because he looks like a girl, and boys are girls until they hit about 14, and then they start getting their male identity. That's my theory anyway. I shouldn't say that the boys are girls. They haven't distinguished their sex. The vice on this, and the date here is 1806. Do you know what the world looked like in 1806? America, especially. Everything west of Boston was almost still wilderness. But we've moved way too far from there. The inscription here says, let us imitate them who, being under the eyes of God, did everything for his sake alone. And then the date, 1806. But the bench, the vise here is the same as in the picture. This is called a leg vise. It attaches to the leg of the bench. That's 1806 technology. And this one here too, this has got a wooden screw. This is a very, very old, I don't know how old, but it's definitely, pre-industrial revolution technology. I joined the local Presbyterian church, which was very helpful, became a deacon, became an elder, listened to the stories. We had choir practice, we had Bible study. Yes, the church was extremely helpful, and we had some really nice pastors that were, really kind of had this big heart for the congregation and helping the people, and it was so much support, because in a rural community like that, you kind of need these extra activities and teachings, to remind you of where your moral compass really lies, and what's important, and how to relate to your neighbors and to other members of the community in a loving and peaceful way. And our church, the Presbyterian Church, went through some difficult periods, one of which was the whole church burned down. And it was a period when we had lost a pastor. There was no real pastor, and the church was kind of closed, and there were homeless people that were coming in and using the kitchen and set the whole thing on fire. And it was a really old, historic, one of the oldest buildings in Covelo. And, when we got there, the steeple on the church was rickety, and the bell hadn't rung in many, many years, maybe decades. And I climbed up in there and bolted it all together and firmed it up and got the bell ringing again. And that was one of the few things that they did save after the fire of the bell, but they don't have the steeple anymore. I think the bell is probably in storage somewhere. I kind of got a little bit disenchanted with the church and the way the direction the church went in, which I felt like they should have taken a more holistic and environmental approach. And because there is I think it's a proverb where God speaks to the people and says, "I will put to ruin those who ruin my earth." And the natural world is the Creator's handiwork, and to treat it with such disrespect and such a exploitative attitude instead of a restorative attitude, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And the whole Christian nationalism, kind of disappoints me that the church didn't embrace the organic wave that swept over the country there in the 70s, this late 60s and 70s, which was a lot of that was a reaction to the Vietnam War and the senseless loss of life and all of the soldiers that came home in coffins, and there's only a certain amount of that you can stomach before you kind of get angry and say, we can't put up with this any longer. And I think it's happening again, really, with this war in Gaza and just this slaughter of innocent women and children, mostly. How much of that can you stand? I think it's going to precipitate another back to nature, back to the land, a kind of a spiritual revival. And I'm looking forward to that in the next few years, if I'm still alive to experience, The native person known as Black Elk that had a similar experience to John in the book of Revelations, where he heard this voice that spoke to him from the heavens and called him up into these heavenly places, and foresaw this future of difficulty that humanity was going to face. And the similarity between Black Elk's vision and John's in the vision that's described in the book of Revelations are very similar. And I've drawn from both of these images in the creation of this calendar. This is the black and white that I give to my students and then let them add the color to it. uh, I give them a little explanation as to what they're looking at. The gleam in the center is described as the color of rubies, carnelian, and jasper, surrounded by a rainbow more radiant than emeralds, surrounded by a sea of crystal with lightning and voices and thunder, surrounded by 24 elders in white robes and golden crowns. And beyond that, the Bible describes what it calls the four beasts. The Indians ascribe those four beasts to the four directions, which the Bible does not. They might have left that part out when they translated. I don't know what happened to the association of the four beasts with the four directions. But in the biblical account, it's the ox. In the Native American, it's the white buffalo in the north. And that's why I've used the footprints, because the footprint of the ox and the buffalo is the same cloven hoof. And so the native is the white buffalo in the north, the golden eagle in the east, red wolf and cousin coyote in the south, and black bear in the west. West being the direction of the coming of the darkness of night and all of the mystery that surrounds the darkness is associated with black bear. But the biblical account is the ox, the eagle, the lion, but the lion and the wolf have the same basic footprint. If you were out in the snow and you saw a lion footprint, you wouldn't really know whether that was a lion, a wolf, or a coyote. They all look so similar. And then the biblical account is the beast with the face of a man, which doesn't really define what that beast really is, where as for the native people, it's definitely black bear. And black bear is the chief of the animal council, the totem animal of the West, and the most feared. When you encounter black bear out in the woods, the hair will stand up on the back of your neck and you'll be looking for a place to hide really fast. The whole idea of the dance as the metaphor for the journey of life. We don't stumble like drunken sailors coming back to the mothership after a night on the town. We dance our lives. And the dance as the metaphor, and the dance, which really is the dance to bring back the frogs, to bring back the natural flora and fauna that have, bring back the salmon. Those are all indicator species that indicate to us that things are getting better. They're not getting worse. When all of the frogs are gone, when all of the salmon are gone from our rivers, when the birds don't sing anymore, when the bees are all the pollinators are gone, we're not going to be able to live on this world. So we've got to begin this sacred dance, is what the native people would call it. And the dance really is the dance of the medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel represents the sacred circle of life, that when you're in harmony with it, it has the ability to heal, to heal. And at the center really is the fire and the water. The fire that gives light and warmth, and the water that is the life giver. And that's the image that's in the center of the sacred circle, the image of the light and warmth with surrounded by the rainbow, more radiant than emeralds. And that's what Rudolf Steiner called the thrones. The thrones. And that image is the image that I've been working with in designing this National Peace Garden. In much of the work that I've been doing, it's done in this circular pattern, and the clocks, the calendars.
Morning light paints the window pane, washing away last night's cold.